Good morning. I think it's a tough fact to follow two veterans from the IT industry, Vijay and Ram Kumar. I mean, they've been setting the stage on fire early morning, so I thought I'll just cool you down for a while. We'll start with a short video of 60 seconds. Can somebody help me play the video first? And then we'll move on to the presentation. Just listen to the video, watch the video, listen to what. I'll share an anecdote that I heard from one of the institutions recently. In fact, I wear several hats. So I also head the IT function, and as IT head, as a CIO, I interact with people from Cognizant. I head the HR function, and I also run an educational institution out of our passion in this field of corporate social responsibility. In that connection, we had a very similar kind of a small event in Trichy some time back, and we had invited the head of training and placement from NIT Trichy, and he shared something very interesting. I believe Google runs a global competition where they shortlisted a few people and then they have made an offer. They had shortlisted one such student from NIT Trichy, and he was invited. He went there and sort of got involved in this project with Google, and finally they made him an offer to join Google, only to wake up one fine morning to see that this guy had 12 arrears. Okay, Google didn't care for that. Google said, "You come, we'll employ you." And what stood in the way is completion of 16 years of education and getting the visa. Visa needed a completion. Visa procedures required a completion certificate. This guy didn't have that, without which visa would have been rejected. He wasn't advised to go and apply for a visa. So what he did, he asked for extension. Google was kind enough to extend by 1 more year. This guy appeared, cleared all the papers, got his visa, and went there. So what I heard from Ram Kumar, one of those disruptions could even be of this order. And I figured out, one of the NIT was known for fantastic education initiatives 15, 20 years back when I also had a short stint in an IT company. We used to hire people from NIT. I figured out recently that one of the heads of innovation in a GE business is a arts graduate from Loyola College and a GNIT graduate. He's worked in IT here, there, went and found his way, and today he heads, I don't know the size, scale, etc., but it's in one of the businesses, and he heads innovation. Unimaginable, because in my industry, if I say innovation, they would say, "Oh, he's a doctoral from which institute? Is he from an IIT or CIT or something of that kind?" Let's watch this video and then we'll reconnect. Thank you.
Our idea of education is entirely English, unfortunately. Everybody is going to the university. For what? We have to live in this universe, not in a university, okay? Right now, I do not know if these laws are across the nation, but at least in Tamil Nadu, because there were children dropping out of the school, the government passed a law a few years ago saying that you cannot fail a child till he reaches 9th standard. So from 1st standard to 9th standard, it's free pass. Because if you fail him at 3rd standard, then he will go back home, he won't come back and sit in the same class again. So let him somehow continue, with good intention. But today you have millions of youth who are 14, 15 years of age, who wear pants, who have the attitude of the educated but don't know education. They can't add 2 plus 2. Now they can't go back to the farm and work with their father. They can't learn carpentry if their father is a carpenter or a blacksmith or whatever, your CNC machine. We are creating this youth. Youth without purpose is a dangerous possibility, always. So our idea of education has to change. I do not believe in this compulsory education thing at all. Why is it that everybody has to go to school? We have to make a law. By the time you're 18, everybody must be tested, you must have some skill. You must be able to do something with your hands or your brains. If you have no skill, you must go for 2 years of some kind of compulsory training, it could be some other industrial training, whatever. If you don't skill the nation, you will kill the nation.
Thank you. I'll go back to my presentation. So, I think it's it's a very nice point I heard, and I subscribe to the view that technology is going to be all embracing, and like banks are called a technology company with a banking license, we could be called a technology company with a manufacturing license going forward, because we have all our machines connected. We need to have all our machines connected, completely end to end, with the use of proper technology to be able to serve the customers better. Google is going to be our competition. The driverless car. Googles and Apples, would you ever have imagined that we were looking at the component space, OEM space, the different brands, Toyotas, Hondas. Today, Google and Apple are coming in. No one has a clue on how to respond to situations like this. So these are kind of, very, very different. And these things, it's like milk spilling over. When you boil milk, you don't know till that last fraction of a second. It's like bacteria doubling. You have all the space in the world, and in a fraction of a second, you look around and milk is spilled all over. It could be as subtle and as sudden as that. I think this education space, the more and more I get involved in terms of at the vocational skill building level, with the government at the state and central level, they're looking at a national qualification, an occupational qualification standard framework. So once the framework comes, the whole landscape is likely to go for a change. So therefore, in terms of forming syllabus, in terms of educating the students, in terms of placements, I think there's a lot of expectations from the industry. I'll run through the presentation. Just give me a little time. Cost pressures and de-skilling. Because before IT started de-skilling, the manufacturing industry has also been talking about de-skilling. What do we mean? We mean the same thing for consistency in terms of quality, cost, delivery. We are trying to automate as much as possible and de-skill the role, not only of engineers, even the operators. So it's very important for us for consistency. So some of these factors are emerging. When we are looking at, I think I learned a new term called jobability in the talent care website. So ICTACT is talking about industry readiness and employability. What do the placement officers go back, and what is it that they take back from this kind of a forum and interact with the managements to make sure that they make the people industry ready, they make the people employable, making sure that the employability index is very high. So there are a lot of data which I put together. Not sure how much of it is really relevant. Some of you may have even seen this kind of skill gaps. For example, in future, with initiatives like Make in India, taking strong roots, it's a priority area for government. And why is that followed with Skilling India and Digital India? Because there is a need to go digital in a much bigger way, right from smart cities to smart industrial parks and hubs and different kinds of zones. It's an entire ecosystem which is evolving. And what are the different kinds of skill sets that you will need? You will need one kind of skill set in the manufacturing space, one kind of skill sets in the IT and ITES space. This is another one in other kinds of services spaces. There's some data which you could see in terms of production workers, engineers, and research and scientists. This is something which I had put together for the manufacturing industry. If you see, there is the need is going to increase vastly for the right kind of talent. Now, do we have the infrastructure? Do colleges just factory-like situations you have and you just turn out numbers, or are these people geared to handle and work with the industry, handle roles and responsibilities in industry? What is it that you're looking for? For example, one suggestion that came up in the forum that we had recently was how do you strengthen internship? Can you include 6 months to 1 year of internship. Somebody is going to go out and audit the accounts, and the chartered accountant, he does horticulture, he does internship for a long period. He understands what is what. Doctors undertake internship. Otherwise, we don't go and go to a doctor who has not done his internship. Okay? He's not studying straight out of the book and leaving out certain parts in choices, so that if you go with the left hand, I'm sorry, lower limb, I have left out in my syllabus, and only upper limb you come to me, otherwise go to somebody else. It's not happening there. Why is it that there is not a strong industry internship process in engineering education, and what are you doing for that? Don't you have a need to strengthen that? Today, while pursuing higher education, management education, several people do a short stint in engineering, in industry, 1 or 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, mostly in IT, and a good number in engineering industries, manufacturing industries, before they pursue higher education. They certainly are able to understand management better, and they certainly are able to assimilate the learning much faster and in a different way. So what is this, the team of placement officers and the chairman of institutions have as a thought to make sure that their products are employable? Because some of these things which they learn, our own experience has been, they have not learned. For example, they have done a paper in total quality management, and we go and ask, what is total quality management? Nobody has a clue. Can you just give a simple example of one of the tools of total quality management, and what do we do? There's no idea. I'm not saying this as a complaint at all, because all of us have to blame. What has the industry done to do so? I don't have an answer, because if people invite us to go and interact with students, 9 out of 10 times we reject, and 1 out of 10 times people go. So there are challenges from both sides, but it's for both of us to work together. Now, if you look at the technical education pyramid, how should it be? You should have vast number of ITIs. You should have then some polytechnic college. You should have some engineering, masters and PhD. Do we agree with this kind of a pyramid? Or should everybody be PhDs and masters in engineering? Pretty much in this line. The number can vary and at different points in time. But what's happening today? You have fewer ITIs, you have more diploma engineers, you have more engineering colleges. So there's something which is fundamentally wrong. The bacteria has multiplied more than once. The last doubling, I think, happened too soon. There should have been a way of controlling that. Or you make sure that the students are very relevant, because the attractiveness, Mr. Shivakumar talked about it. It's a fantastic point. But attractiveness is a function of demand and supply. It's not a function of anything else. There are 50 attractive boys and 50 attractive girls. They'll automatically pair with each other. I don't think there's going to be a great choice. Sorry for taking this example, but I took it more as on a philosophical note. Now, what happens? There are some institutions where people get 3 to 3.5 jobs, and there are some institutions where nobody gets a job. And believe me, there are people waiting in front of our factories to work on machines, engineering graduates, several of them. And I just must warn you, since this is community of placement officers that is there, quoting our names, there are fake recruitment rackets which are going on. Okay? People come with, our own company has suffered it several times. So did any of the placement officers check up with the company? Some people come and in the name of, come these days in this digital era, like it or not, letterheads, managing director's name, CHRO's name, everything can be replicated. And my signature, somebody else can put it better than what I would do every time, because it's digitally done. A very, very wrong way of digitally doing. So it's extremely important that the placement officers keep in mind some of these emerging imperatives in their mind in terms of educating the management, creating awareness among the management, awareness among the students, and providing for internship, and try and restructure this whole process of education as much as possible. And I'll just, in terms of some of the specific areas, I think I'm carrying gold to Newcastle. This must have been discussed several times. What are some of the soft skills and some of the hard skills that we need? I put some of those hard skills because if you have to go and work for the mechanical engineers, of course we hire mechatronics as well, and automobile, any of these electrical. If you have to go and work on the shop floor, and you got to command the respect of people there, and you want to become a supervisor soon, you should know several things. You should know how to set the machine. You should understand what happens in the machine. You should be willing to roll up your sleeves and dirty your hand. And automobile engineer, when there is a breakdown, and all that he has to do, it happened with me a few days back. So we were traveling, 3-4 of us, and I managed to have a flat tire near Trichy to check how many of them could help us change tires. This I had taken my principal along and taken some students to test it out. Nobody. They had serious issues. Okay. Nobody had. I said, let all of us try. I know I've changed tires several times for the last 30 years. So we tried to see how to change a flat tire. So maybe there are issues. So do you put your people to such real-time tests in institutions to make sure that the basics are learnt, not in the books, but real time? Because we always quote Germany or the US for models of community college and vocational education. So these are certain important things. Yes, if India and China are going to be the manufacturing hub of the world, so there are several opportunities for the education infrastructure. Now, there is a base. There's no denying the fact that we have a fantastic base set up in this country and set up in this state. But we need to kind of make sure that we build add-ons on that base to remain continuously relevant in the current context. Hi. So that is something which is very important from an educational ecosystem. Predominantly, I assume that most of you are from the engineering colleges, is very important. Yeah, here are the challenges. Let me put together all the challenges before the institutes, before the industry, and a brief summary of all of these things for you to read. My take is to make sure that the syllabus, the curriculum needs continuous alignment, and the faculty quality is very important because we struggle in terms of getting good faculty in educational institutions, and particularly with good industry experience. We do have a limited number of such people who go back to institutes and are willing to work with institute. So with this, I conclude my speech at this point in time and wish everyone here a great placement year ahead. I'm sure most of the students would have been placed if they're placeable, because we are now in February, right? You will be, I think, working towards placement for the next batch. That is also too early, we thought, because you're not even completed 4 years. We go for placement interview I was at the PSG a few months back, and he said, so what, we asked a few questions, he said, that's there in the next semester, sir, last semester. So we can't even evaluate if we go early, what is it that he's going to study, which is very important for me. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure, and I learned a lot from all of you. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Venkatanarayanan, for that wonderful insights.